Welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Pastor Rick Utze from Maranatha Community Fellowship in Plain City, Ohio. I was reading an article on the web from the New York Times this morning, and it has the title, The Year from Above. And so it's going back through the year on these big things that happen that you can actually see from satellites way up in the sky. So it was things like, the devastation in Iraq and Syria by ISIS and just some of the towns that have been pretty much leveled through that fighting. From the hurricanes that happened, it showed Puerto Rico and the lights that were on before the hurricane, and then pictures afterwards, even recently, of where there's just almost darkness because of the power outages. And it showed North Korea, and with China above it and South Korea below it, how you could see lights everywhere, but in North Korea it's dark. And we know all the things that are happening with North Korea, but there's a lot of stuff that we don't know about that country. And also the algae outbreak on Lake Erie. You can see the big green, huge green algae blooms there. And then one of the neatest things was when we had the eclipse. They showed, when you see the marble, and it showed the of Earth. And then it showed the eclipse passing across the United States, this dark circle just going across the United States with the eclipse. And I thought that was so cool. I hadn't actually seen that perspective before. So all these things, these big things that happen that you can catch from satellites in space this past year. And I got to thinking, God is up above, and He's also looking down. But He doesn't just capture the big things. He sees everything in our lives. And sometimes that can be scary, and other times that's great news. Listen to what it says in Hebrews 4, starting in verse 12. It says, "For the word of God is living and effective and sharper than any double-edged sword, penetrating as far as the separation of soul and spirit, joints and marrow. It is able to judge the thoughts and intentions of the heart. No creature is hidden from Him, but all things are naked and exposed to the eyes of Him to whom we must give an account." And if you're reading that, nothing is hidden. He sees everything, and we must give an account. And as we're thinking about that, we're probably thinking, oh my, I can't stand before a holy, righteous God. And it's true, we can't on our own. But listen to what it says right after that. It says in verse 14, "Therefore, since we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus the Son of God, let us hold fast to our confession. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who has been tempted in every way as we are, yet without sin. Therefore, let us approach the throne of grace with boldness, so that we may receive mercy and grace to help us in time of need." So, in the one respect, it talks about how the Word of God is able to discern the hearts and the thoughts and everything that's going on inside of us. And then it says we have to give an account. But then it goes through and talks about Jesus Christ, who's passed through the heavens. Jesus Christ, who came as a man, fully man, passed through the heavens, is now exalted at the throne of God, who's our judge and our high priest. And it says we don't have a high priest who is unable to sympathize. Jesus Christ was fully man. We celebrate that when we come to Christmas, and we've been celebrating that probably this past week as we now look forward to the new year. This God who came down as fully man, because He was fully man, He is able to sympathize with our weaknesses. He was tempted in every way as we are, but without sin. He knows what it is to walk in our shoes. He was writing to the Hebrews saying, I understand your circumstances. I know what you're going through. I'm a high priest who understands it. So hold fast to your confession and belief in me, and come boldly before my throne, and I will give you grace and help. And this whole chapter before it was about God's rest, and that we have rest in Jesus Christ when we know His word and follow in a pattern of obedience. So this New Year's, we'll probably all kind of, at least in our heads, make resolutions for the new year that we try and keep by our own willpower. However, this new year, as we head into 2018, let's make it our aim to please Him and to love the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. Have a happy new year, and I'll see you next time on The Bottom Line.